Welcome back to The Real Story. Tuesday in Temecula, California, dozens of girls at the James L. Day Middle School, joined by supportive boys and outraged parents, staged a defiant walkout from PE class, protesting the Temecula Valley Unified School District's failure to remove a biological male from their locker room, where he's been changing and shattering their sense of privacy, security, and frankly, innocence. Echoing swimmer Riley Gaines' 2022 nightmare, forced to undress next to transgender athlete Leah Thomas at the NCAA championships, feeling violated and abandoned by spineless officials. These Temecula girls are drawing a line against the same exact betrayal, refusing to normalize the absurd. Now the protest, fueled by flyers and social media from advocates like Sophia Laurie of the California Family Council, erupted this past Tuesday on the third day of school, after district counselors allegedly strong-armed girls into the locker room, framing their discomfort as the real issue. This, of course, follows the TVUSD's board's August 26 vote of 4-1 to table proposed mental health and religious exemption forms for unsafe girls, delaying any fix until at least the next meeting on September 9th. Board voices like Sanja Shah then blasted Sacramento's Democrat-pushed madness for creating and perpetuating this mixed gender madness. Now that brings us to our next guest today. We recently spoke with a governing school board member in attendance at the walkout, where he made an extremely valid and concerning point with regard to the gaslighting of young women for having to sign a mental health exemption form, all because they don't want to change in front of men. Take a listen.
The big ruckus is if a girl has to sign a mental health exemption form because she doesn't feel comfortable with possibly a boy changing in front of her, then we just call it the gaslighting policy right away, because gender dysphoria is in the DSM-5 manuals, and that is what this is. And to have a girl sign a mental health exemption form when she doesn't have a mental health problem is just absolute craziness.
Only in the year 2025 does a female teenager have to sign a mental health exemption form just to avoid changing in front of biological men. Their mental health is perfectly intact. If anyone here needs their mental health to be exempted, it's the biological men who think it's somehow appropriate in any way, shape, or form to change in front of biological women. But then again, welcome to Gavin Newsom's California. And nationwide, of course, over 20 states grapple with the transgender locker mandates, with lawsuits mounting. But Temecula's kids are proving the fight back starts with the ones who are being most affected by these degenerate policies, our country's youth. And many people are finally waking up and torching woke authoritarian political overreach with raw common sense, basic dignity, and overall human decency. Now, here with her thoughts and analysis is independent investigative journalist Audra Morgan, who was actually on the ground for the walkout in Temecula, and she joins us now.
Thank you, Riley, for having me. I appreciate it.
So, I thought this issue was put to rest a long time ago. I cannot believe the radical left is fighting this fight. What is your perspective about that?
Well, I think what they're doing is trying to change behaviors of children. They're very good at, bringing things in incrementally and, getting you to get used to it and those things. But now they're at a place where they're really trying to force it upon the children to, be in a restroom changing with a male when they don't want to be, instead of actually, they're sacrificing the group for the one. Yes. And that's what they tend to be doing a lot. And it's very dangerous, the road that this leads down.
It is, and the goalposts on this issue have moved so quickly, going from at first tolerance, then to acceptance, then to forced participation, now to you have to celebrate it and embrace it, or else you're bigot, or there's something wrong with you. Right. What do you make of that?
Well, it's just crazy to think that young girls would have to claim that they have a mental health issue if they don't want to change and they're uncomfortable in front of a male. Instead of saying maybe that person needs to, have I don't know. It's very sad because they're taking girls and they're saying they want everybody to feel safe, and It's like, You're not making everybody feel safe. There's so many things they could do, but when you want to change behaviors and force things like a square peg into a round hole, you have to de-incentivize or incentivize. And right now, they're trying to force girls into feeling like they're going to be okay with that, which leads down a path of going, well, is that dangerous? What if it's somewhere else outside of school and a man comes into the restroom, and because there has been rape, there has been different things that have taken place when this is allowed. So, you know, instead of making sure, because don't use the rhetoric of all people are safe. This makes everyone safe.
No.
Because it does not.
What you're saying, the radical left in this country has made this issue about safety and inclusion. I don't think it's about that at all. Clearly it's not, because they're inclusive up until the point where you disagree with them.
Correct.
So what do you think it's really about?
Well, like I said, I think it's about changing behaviors. I think it's
But
directing
why
people.
though? Like what's the deeper, what need or issue do they think they're really getting at here?
Well, I think there's an attack on children, honestly, and I believe that you have to get to the children when they're young to change society as a whole, right? If you want to push something like this and have everybody go along with it, you have to start when the kids are young so that as they go along, they're the ones pushing it as well. And not deny it, not saying, I mean, because they're changing language. I mean, they're changing the definition of a woman, saying that a man can be a woman. And I'm like, and even saying that they feel that way. Well, you will never feel like a woman because you don't know what that's like. You could say it. I could say I feel like a man, but I would never know what that's like. And instead of asking people to be okay with who they are, they're trying to change society in a way that, you know, leads to more division. It leads to less babies, right? Because you're not going to be having children.
There we go. So that's the point I'm trying to get to. That's even deeper. I think this is part of a bigger depopulation problem. Not just a war on children or childhood innocence, but the West itself. I think this is about the destruction of the entire Western world.
Absolutely.
Morality, the nuclear family unit, childhood innocence, all of it. What do you think about that theory?
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, they have to, I mean, their plan too is to destroy America. You have to do it from within with our own, like we have to be doing it. You know what I mean? No one's going to come in and like bomb us like we do other places. It has to happen with the people. And in order to direct people, like I said, you have to de-incentivize and incentivize. And if you don't want people to be around, what better way than to make sure nobody can have children if they're cutting off body parts that would allow them to do that? You know, and instead, like I'm saying, if we were in a world that was about making people feel good about themselves, you would be like, you are beautiful the way you are. Love yourself.
Completely. That's real affirmation.
Right?
Love yourself for who you are, for who God made you.
Yes.
Okay, so clearly there's a very small but really vocal and radical group of people pushing this agenda. Let's talk about the people who are fighting it. What did you make, or what did you think about this showing of support for people who are on the other side of this? On the side of common sense and decency?
I thought it was great. I thought it was great to see young kids being active and like standing up for something they know is wrong, because again, they don't want us to do that, right? They kind of retaliate if you do. And this is why things continue, is because everybody's so afraid to say something. They don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but this isn't about feelings. This is about our future and where we're headed. And it's very scary to think about. And so it was so encouraging to see kids offer solutions, like not just going, this is bad. And they would all say too, we're not trying to go against the trans student. It's not what it's about, but it's about making these girls feel unsafe. So why don't we offer up options like their own personal dressing room or bathroom, or changing curtains, you know, partitions. Like she was I'm like, this is fantastic. You should take that to the board of trustees and tell them those things, because instead of making like exemptions, you should be making policies to say what's going to make everyone feel safe. Having their own restroom, not going, well, they don't feel safe in this restroom, so we're going to put them over here and make them feel unsafe. That makes no sense.
You know, I have one last theory for you, because to the point you just so well made, Audra, it seems like there are very simple solutions that we could implement tomorrow to fix this problem.
Yes.
And yet they don't get put into place. I think that there's a lot of people who want to make this an issue just to divide people in part, so they have a rallying cry to win elections.
That's
What do you think about that theory?
I think you're right. I mean, anything they're doing is in order to push something where you're going to get a lot of support for this, and show that these people don't support. So again, it divides the people, but it will allow them to go. You know, if they're running and they're running off of that kind of a ticket, like gender affirming care, you're going to get all of those people. But they don't understand they're being exploited. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, if they can understand that too, like any kind of facet or group, they always exploit them to get some kind of benefit in the long run. And if people saw that, then they wouldn't fall into the trap. And
Completely.
you know, so it's interesting, but it was very encouraging to see kids do that. There was counter opposition on the other side. The police actually showed up, and the mother of the trans student showed up to give a hard time to some of the parents that were there.
Wow.
And she's a substitute teacher.
Really?
At that school. I was like, wow, you came out to harass. And, you know, I mean, and why not go?
It's just very revealing.
Yes.
Yep.
You know, he feels safe, but they don't. And it doesn't matter.
Wow.
How can you not, like, try and make an even playing field for everybody?
Completely. If this was really about equality, then we would have put this to rest so long ago.
But it's not. It is never. It's
course
not. No.
But thank you then for exposing this stuff and for all of your work as an investigative journalist. It's really refreshing to see that in this world. So Audra, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Riley.
And coming up next, Joe Exotic, otherwise known all over the world as the Tiger King, rejoins the program to provide exclusive updates about his clemency case, his team's recent talks with the White House, and much, much more. Coming up right after the break.